Howdy everyone. All right, still making some slow progress out here in the shop doing some vinyl. You can see that I have just installed this piece. It's trimmed along the top and down the front. I won't do anything with the cut tape along the bottom until I get this other piece on, because the cut tape runs all the way through here. You can see this white area here. So I'm going to wait till I get this other piece on, and then I'll pull the cut tape all the way through. Now I've got that done on the other side. Let me go over here. So this side is now done as far as the main color from the cowling, from where the cowling attaches in the front all the way down to the tail. And you can see where I have removed the cut tape along the bottom. The cut tape has been removed and it cut the gray right around the bottom. And I had talked about having seams, not really seams, but overlaps. And you can see that here underneath the gray. So the white actually goes up under the gray about 1/4 of an inch. And there's a little bit of a step there on the gray itself. And that's pretty consistent all the way down. And I had done that on purpose. Again, I had the white, I put the cut tape on the bare aluminum, put the white over top of the cut tape, and then cut it into this wavy shape. And then I peeled back this protective cover and taped it down. And then I ran my cut tape basically 1/4 of an inch down from the edge of the white. And I put on my cut tape. And then I laid the gray over top of that. And then when I pulled the cut tape to cut the gray is now overlapping the white about 1/4 of an inch all along this wavy area. And it looks fine. Again, not really into it for the show. I'm into it for the go. So that's the way it's going to be. You can see there's an overlap here, and of course you want your pieces to overlap front to back and then top to bottom. And this is just Sharpie marker. This actually will come off really easily with a little bit of alcohol, and the alcohol appears not to affect the vinyl. I took a scrap piece of vinyl, pulled the protective cover off, and rubbed on it really hard with a rag and a lot of alcohol, and it really didn't seem to do anything to it. But it will take this Sharpie marker off no problem. When the marker's gone, it will be very difficult to find the seam. Again, not a seam, an overlap. I don't want any seams. I don't want any butt joints. So there's what we have so far on the right side of the fuselage. So what I'm going to do next is get out of the camera view. I'm going to put this top piece on here, and that's what I'm working on now. So again, I've pulled down the protective cap and taped it. I'm going to measure from the edge of the aluminum down 1/4 of an inch and draw a line, and then over top of that line is where I'm going to put my cut tape. And then I'll put the vinyl down over top and then pull the cut tape, which will cut a nice straight line 1/4 inch down from the edge of the aluminum. So again, I'll have another 1/4 inch overlap here. Now the aluminum on the airplane, this sheet of aluminum overlaps this sheet of aluminum. So there's a step right here between the aluminum pieces. So what I elected to do was put this piece of vinyl up to that edge, and the other piece of vinyl will overlap. And the only reason I did it that way is I could have brought this vinyl up over onto this piece. But when you put the vinyl across a step like this, you get a little bit of a, I don't know what to call it. It's hard to see, but there's a little bit of, if you can imagine going across a step with the vinyl, there's a little bit of a dog leg, if you will. So to try to minimize that, I put this piece up to the step, and my next piece will come over top. And whatever the thickness of the vinyl is, it makes this step less severe because there's another layer of material here. The vinyl adds another layer of material. So the step between the aluminum to the vinyl is not as much as it is from the aluminum to the aluminum, if that makes sense. It just lessens the effect of that dog leg when the aluminum tries to jump across a step. So I'll be doing that with this piece. So this vinyl, of course, is up to the edge. My cut tape will be a 1/4 inch down. And this vinyl is going to come across and it's going to stop right here at this overlap. So it will just come up to it and stop, and then the other piece of vinyl will overlap it. So this is the piece I'm going to work on now from this seam here all the way back to the tail. That's all going to be one piece and down over top of this one. All right, so I've got my protective cap pulled down. I'm going to mark my 1/4 inch down from the aluminum, mark it, and then I'm going to put my cut tape along that line on both sides. Here, the vinyl is just going to overlap the seam a little bit, and then I'll come back with my X-Acto knife and just cut it right along this edge. All right, so let me get some lines drawn and some cut tape put down, and I will talk to you guys later. Howdy, everyone. All right, so I've run out of vinyl to finish the fuselage. I have a piece that's pretty big. It's not quite big enough to finish this, but it's a big piece, and I have a scrap piece. The two of those combined would finish the fuselage, but I would have to piece those together, and I don't want to piece them together. I'd rather have this last piece that wraps around the fuselage. I'd rather have that all one piece like I've done the rest of it. So while I'm waiting on that vinyl to show up, I'm going to move back to working on the cowling. So here's what I'm going to do. The first thing that I want to do is change the setup for the top hinge pins. Right now, this is set up as per the plans. This is the oil door, and you can see if you look at the rivets here, there's a gap right here. There is no hinge right here between these rivets. And the way that it's set up is you open up the door, you reach up underneath here and you grab the hinge pins and you pull them out through this opening. And that's tedious, especially getting them back in. So I found a mod on the internet where you basically cut a hole in the cowling and you modify some structure underneath the cowling, and you're able to basically put another cover here, and you simply just take that cover off, grab the hinge pins and slide them out from the top instead of going up underneath this door. So I've been working on that just from a design perspective, and I'll show you what I have so far. I'm going to take this top cowling off, I'll put it on the workbench, and I'll show you what I've gotten so far. So stand by. I'll talk to you guys here in a second.